Hello students, once again welcome to the online classes with Teena Motwani, and today let's have a peek into an elementary school classroom in a slum. Yes, this is a poem composed by Stephen Spender. Now something about Stephen Spender. Sir Stephen Harold Spender is a very famous English poet, novelist and an essayist. He was born to a journalist father, so writing was in his very blood. And the main theme that features in most of his works is about class inequalities and social injustice, because he was keenly interested in politics and he called himself a pacifist as well as a socialist. And one more thing about him, he was associated with a particular school of poetry that is called Oxford poets. Now, Oxford poets, they were of the ideology or the belief that a poet or an author should be aware about the political surroundings. He should be, keenly interested in the contemporary political scenario, and he should voice the problems in his literary work so that the solutions can be found regarding those political issues, and the same you can witness in his literature. Now, this poem was first published in the year 1964. It resonates poets' political views or ideas, and it presents a very dismal and bleak picture of a classroom, an elementary school classroom in a slum area. And it also brings forth, it also presents the difficulties faced by the underprivileged and ill-fed children who belong to the slum areas. And through the poem, Stephen Spender is raising his voice against the injustice and the class inequalities which were prevalent at that time. It seems he is on pins and needles, and he just wants a solution. He wants a better future, a prospect of a better life for these slum children, and that is the very crux or the theme of this particular poem. So when you see the structure of the poem, it has got four stanzas and it is written in free verse. There is no particular rhyme scheme of this poem, and Stephen Spender is gradually building up the theme of the poem, beginning from the first stanza and coming to the concluding one. In the very first, he depicts the stark realities of these slum children's lives. He describes them as famished, poverty stricken, ill fed, and they are deprived of any basic amenities and facilities also. And then on, when he moves to the second stanza, he brings our attention to the incongruity of the class ambience with the real life of these children. And then comes a very pungent note. He is full of frustration, anger at the callous attitude of the government and the officials. And moving on to the fourth stanza, the last one, concluding one, it brings a hope. It ends on a tone or shade or tinge of hope. And it seems that the poet is so desperate to give justice and to give some basic facilities to these children, and he makes an appeal also. There is a frantic appeal in the concluding line to the governing authority that these children should be given equal rights and they should be given an opportunity of good and quality education so that they can also write their own history, they can create their own history, and they can lead at least a good life.
So, first, let us read the whole poem. Now, this poem has been written in free verse, there is no particular rhyme scheme, and the poem has run on lines. That means one line is running on the next line for its meaning, and it's interconnected. And whenever you are reading a poetry or you're reciting a poem, you don't have to pause where the line ends, especially when there is no rhyme scheme. You have to oh, trace the pauses, and with the pauses comes out the meaning of the poem. So just pay attention and you can read silently with me. Let's read the poem. Far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. At the back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game. In tree room, other than this, on sour cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities, build flowery Tyrolese valley, open handed map awarding the world its world. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this map, their world, where all their future is painted with a fog. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. Surely Shakespeare is wicked and map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes from fog to endless night. On their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum. So blot their maps with slums as big as doom. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break open till they break the town and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands and let their tongues run naked into books. The white and green leaves open history, theirs whose language is the sun.
Okay, students, so now let us together explore the poem literally as well as metaphorically. This poem is loaded with, many figures of speech, but mostly it has got imagery and symbolism. Now, what is an imagery? When you read something, you can almost visualize, you can almost think of it, and the scene comes before your mind, before your eyes, sorry. So that is imagery. And symbolism, when I talk of rain, it is a symbol of rejuvenation, revival, or it is a symbol of life, giving life, energy, freshness. So you can associate things with their deeper meaning, that is symbolism. So let's begin the poem. Far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces. Poet doesn't start with a description of these slum children's faces. Slum is an overcrowded street which is inhabited by poor people. And elementary means a school which is giving primary education. So the poet is not starting with this description or describing the faces of the children. He just gives us a comparison, a point of comparison, an analogy. And he says that these children's faces have no trace of the energy or the exuberance which is there in the gusty waves. Now, gusty waves, gust is a strong wind, and waves, tides. So when the high tides are there, when there is a current in the sea, it has got energy. But these children's faces are devoid of all such energy, dull faces, lifeless, pale. So this is the meaning. And far, far, it is an example of repetition. Far, far from, there is an alliteration as well in these lines. And gusty waves, they symbolize the people or children who are privileged or who are leading a happy life. It can be a symbol of those people also. Like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor. Now, these children have no one to take care of them, though they have people at home, but no one bothers to, tidy their hair or to comb their hair. So they just come to school with uncombed hair, unkempt hair. So their unkempt hair have been compared to the rootless weeds. Not in the proper place, and they are also compared to rootless weeds, like they are unwanted in the society, unwanted section of the society, the underprivileged section of the society. They belong to that particular strata. So like rootless weeds, there is a simile being used here. The tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes. Now, the poet is taking our attention from the previous or scene to the next one, another girl is sitting whose head is weighed down. Now, weighed down head may mean she's ill, she's feeling miserable, and or she's burdened with her present state of life, and that's why her head is weighed down. Now, see the use of consonants here. The sound "d" is repeated. Weighed down head to bring the heaviness in the which is there in the life of this girl, the paper seeming boy. See the analogy, the stark comparisons that the poet is using is comparing the boy to a paper. The body, he's so frail, he's so skinny, and he's so malnourished that the poet is comparing him to a paper seeming boy with rat's eyes. A rat, what is a rat doing? Rat feels timid, insecure, searching for food, frightened. So same things he finds in this boy also, the paper seeming boy, and who is perhaps looking for better prospects of life. There's alliteration, there is repetition used in these particular lines, far, far from, and then you have the simile. Use your the unkempt hair have been compared to the rootless weeds, and then you have the consonants, weighed down head, metaphor, paper seeming boy, and with rat's eyes. And then there are various symbols like the gusty waves. They are symbolic of the energetic children, and these children's lives are far removed from the lives of those children who are living in luxury, and they are leading a very beautiful life. The stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. It's the language, it falls like a hammer on us. Stunted. Now, another boy whose growth has been prevented due to a disease. He's an unlucky heir of twisted bones. See the sarcasm in the lines. The poet sarcastically says that he is an heir. An heir is a person who inherits something, a property or possession, or some kind of riches or opulence. But what this boy has inherited? He has inherited a disease, a disease of twisted bones. His father suffered from this disease, and now he also is suffering from the same, and he's reciting a father's gnarled disease's lesson. So there's a pun on the word reciting here. The boy is reciting his lesson from his desk. He is repeating out loud the lesson that the teacher is giving, but at the same time, he is reiterating his father's disease. So the poet is referring to the disease of rickets here, gnarled disease where the bones are twisted, or there are knots in the bones, and this boy is an unlucky inheritor of this particular disease. Now, at the back of the dim class, the class is dim, dismal. It is not well lit, and at the back, one boy is sitting, one unnoted. He's unobserved. No one is paying attention to him, perhaps. Unnoted, sweet and young. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in tree room. Other than this, when you don't see the present beautiful, when you don't see your surroundings, giving you sufficient energy or mm, happiness. So what do? You tend to take shelter in your world of imagination, and this boy is doing the same. He is looking at the squirrel outside. He's this a squirrel is playing outside in the tree room. Now, tree room is the metaphor here. Tree room is a hollow in the tree where a squirrel is playing, and it's compared to a room for the squirrel's game. Now, squirrel is again a symbol of energy and freedom here, and boy is not free, so he craves for it. Now, moving on to the second stanza. On sour cream walls donations, Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities. Now, the walls of the classroom have turned pale, sour cream walls. Again, a pun on the word sour cream. It can be a sour can be something which is out of taste, bad taste, the cream which has turned into bad taste. That can be a sour cream or cream color, no? Pale yellowish dull color, and it has turned rather more pale. So sour cream walls, again a pun on the word sour cream walls. Donations. Now, when you see this particular classroom, the slum classroom, the walls have been painted very dull, and there is a list of donators who have donated money perhaps, and those who have given grants to the this school. And it can also mean that, whatever things, the infrastructure has been used in this classroom is built up or is developed due to the grant or the donation money which people have contributed. And what else is there on the walls? Shakespeare's head. There is an image, a portrait of Shakespeare hanging on the wall. Is an allusion because we are referring to a famous person or a thing. Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dawn, riding all cities. And what are the other images, pictures used on the pasted on the wall? There are the pictures of huge domes, arch structures, or huge buildings which are riding all cities, which are dominating over the cities, or which are so high in their stature that they are dominating in the city. And that's why the poet says that these are the things, major things, which are displayed on the walls. Cloudless at dawn, civilized dawn, riding all cities. Bell, flowery, Tyrolese valley. Another image which is there, another picture which is displayed on the wall is of Tyrol Valley or Tyrol's Valley. It is a valley in Austria, and it is very much famous for its greenery, its flowers. There are many churches there, and you can almost, when you go there, you feel the beautiful ambience of the valley, as well as there is, you can hear the chirping of the birds, and there is a mesmerizing fragrance there of the flowers, as well as the other things. Surroundings are so beautiful, the bells are ringing in the churches, and the valley is resonating those bells. So bell, flowery, Tyrolese valley. Tyrolese, again an allusion referring to a place. Bell, flowery. Now here we have the sound l, build, flowery, Tyrolese valley. So, a lullaby, a happy tune being played. There is an example of consonants as well as assonance. E. Sound of build. Sound is also repeated. So there is assonance as well as consonants used here. Bell, flowery, Tyrolese valley. Open-handed map awarding the world its world. Now, what is open-handed map? Open-handed map again may mean two things. One is the map which is randomly drawn without any scales. Proper fixed scales are not there, or it can be an arbitrary world which have been depicted or described, or which has been made by the rulers or people in power. Arbitrary world. That's why it's awarding the world its world. So poet means that the map is open handed, it is defined or it is described or it is charted out by those only who are in power. Like when the creation started, there were no boundaries. How the boundaries developed, how there was a delineation, people who were able to rule over that particular regime, that became their territory. So people have created this world, those people who were in power. It has been done in an arbitrary manner. So open-handed map awarding the world its world. This is the world, the outer world, and this map is awarding the world its world. The map is depicting itself, and it is awarding the world its world. That means people who are in power, they give the real shape to the world. You can understand it in this manner. And we have already discussed all the figures of speech which have been used in this particular section of this stanza. Now moving on. And yet for these children, these windows, not this map, their world. Now see the things which are displayed on the walls. Do they have any, connection or relevance to these children's lives? Can they ever read the verses of Shakespeare? Can they ever visit the beautiful places like Tyrol Valley? And can they explore the world. For these children, this map which is portrayed there is not their actual world. These windows are their world, the windows of the classroom. For these children, these slum children, these windows, not this map, their world, where all their future is painted with fog. Their future is bleak, it is dismal, it has no light, it has no happiness. So their future is painted with a fog. You know, painting. Can you paint something with a fog? The metaphor has been used here as fog blurs everything. You have no clear vision. Similarly, their lives are blurred, and there is no hope, and there is no joy in their lives, no future prospects, because their education is so faulty. So there's a metaphor: future is painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in with the lead sky. Words: narrow street, lack of opportunities, limited resources they have. Then you have streets sealed in, block, hindrance. But there's a dead end to their life. Also, there is dead end. They have no opportunities. They have no such creative things in their life. So it is packed with the lead sky. It can be due to pollution also, and lead sky also means they don't have an access to a blue sky, a beautiful one. Sky, when we say sky is the limit. So even if the sky is the limit for them, it is just as black as the lead. Far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of the world. And capes is a land which is surrounded by water on three sides. A land jutting out in the sea. That's capes. Their lives are far, far removed. Again, repetition and alliteration used here. The lives are removed from rivers and capes and stars of world. So literally, also they have not seen any clear rivers. They have no opportunity to enjoy the beauties and bounties of nature, and they're removed from the river, or you can say their lives are not clean, they are living in squalor. And capes, again, the beautiful places they can't visit. And stars of words. Now, stars of words, again, a metaphorical use here, metaphorical use of the language. Their lives are removed from literacy, though they are studying in the slum school, but still they have no access to the proper education. They are away from the words which are like stars, as stars are far reached. It's beyond their capability to acquire a good quality education which can give them a light in life. Like the stars also guide us, light, give light. So stars of words. Far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. So there are different figures of speech again used here. Metaphor we have already discussed. Their future is painted with a fog. Stars of word, again a metaphor. Words have been compared to stars. And then there are symbols used here, like window. Windows are the symbols of opportunities, and lead sky is symbol of their bleak future. Now, the third stanza. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example. Now, in a dauntless manner, Spender is calling Shakespeare wicked, a bad, evil person, and map is a bad example. We usually say that a map should be displayed on the walls of a classroom, and it gives students an insight into the world geography, and it also gives them a reason to fantasize. But for these children who are not even getting the basic amenities, for them Shakespeare is surely wicked and map a bad example, because Shakespeare on this map, what are they depicting? They are depicting sun, ships, and love, which is tempting them to steal. Whatever is described in Shakespeare's tales, beautiful stories of love, of the royalty and regal people. This map, which is depicting the glories of the world, and it has the exploration. People have done exploration on ships also, using ships also. So with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal, the map and this portrait of Shakespeare, both are bad examples, or they are of no relevance, because they have bright hues, the brighter side of the world, and these children are living a life of dullness, and there is no use of such things in their lives. So surely Shakespeare is wicked. There is an example of alliteration here, and the poet is very much sure that Shakespeare's portrait or picture is of no use here. So surely Shakespeare is wicked, and the map is a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes from fog to endless night. Will they steal to create a life which will turn their fog to the endless night? Now, fog is a symbol of blur, something blur vision, or it is bleak, and night, endless night, means a complete doom or destruction, a complete failure of life. So poet is, asking a question, that do you want that their lives should turn from fog to endless night, from they should, from worst to worst, their life should turn into. So he feels that surely we don't want this, for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes. What kind of life they're living, slyly, in a cunning manner, in a wicked manner. The life is not being led in a happy manner. Life is turning into crammed holes. A personification as if life is turning itself into their crammed holes. Now, crammed holes, overcrowded, congested, holes can be considered as burrows. So there is a metaphor again used here. The poet is comparing the children to the rodents, indirectly, as if they are living in the burrows. So the shacks, the shabby shacks where they are living, they are compared to the burrows, and the poet feels that their life is no better than the lives of the rodents. So we'll read the lines again. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, and the map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal for lives that slyly turn in their crammed holes from fog to endless night. So he says that if this is the scenario, if they are just looking at the picture of Shakespeare and this map, what will they do? They will steal, they will be tempted to do bad things, because they will not be able to earn to fulfill their needs. On their slag heap these children wear skins peeped through by bones, and spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottle bits on the stone. See the use of words, the choice of words, as if their whole life is crumpled, crashed, broken. Not only the spectacles are broken, or the glasses of the spectacles are broken, but their whole life, it seems as if it is like bottle bits on the stone, crashing on slag heap. These children wear skins. Metaphorical use of these two words, slag heap. Now, what is slag heap? He is comparing the bodies of the children to the rubble, to the debris, to the wreck, and uh, it may be read as the industrial waste, because these children, the place where they are living, their slums are next to the place where the industrial waste is deposited. So their very existence is that industrial waste. So on this slag heap, their bodies are so malnourished, and they are so ill-fed and poverty-stricken. They are so weak and frail, that the poet is comparing their bodies. He's not even saying the bodies; he's saying on this slag heap, as if they are just a mass. They are not bodies. They are just mass of uh, some waste. Earlier also rootless weeds, unwanted plants, and here he's calling them slag heap. Children wear skins peeped through by bones, and spectacles of steel with mended glass. Now these children are wearing skins, again metaphorical use, as if it is a coat, because they are so frail, they are so skinny, that their bones are peeping through the body. Again, personification, bones are peeping through, looking, trying to peek outside, trying to peep through the bodies, very frail bodies. And they are wearing spectacles of steel frames with the mended glass. They don't have money even to get the glasses of the spectacles repaired. So they have stuck it, and he's comparing with the medium of a simile these glasses to the bottle bits on a stone. So you can compare it to their lives also, as I've already discussed, that as if they are the stones, and these spectacles are like bottle bits on them, or their lives are like what? Lives are shattered like the bottle bits smashed on the stone. All their time and space are foggy slum. Their time and their space. Their whole time is spent in the slums only. They don't have any access to the outer world. They don't enjoy the world of entertainment as we all do. So the time and space are foggy slum. They have never been to any beautiful places in the world outside. So when they have not explored, then what is the use of these maps and these beautiful pictures which are being displayed on the walls? So the poet, in a very vehement manner, in a grieved manner, he says, blot their maps. It's better to blot their maps, to scar their maps. It's better to destroy everything and to mark their maps with the slums. Instead of the maps, the picture of the slums, the reality should be displayed on the walls. And the government should also see the reality, and they should awake get awakened. They should get awakened and do something for these slum children. So plot their maps with slums as big as doom, because the slums are not going to give them anything. It is just going to bring distraction. It is just moving their lives, from shattered condition to just the doom. Doom means the complete destruction. So living in the slums is worse than death. Is living like living in a hell, living life in a hell. And this all is due to the callous attitude of the authorities and the people who are not paying attention to these slum children's condition, and no one is bothered to change the scenario. So here we have a use of metaphor: slag heap, weird skins, and personification: bones are peeping through the body. The simile we've already discussed, like bottle bits on the stone, spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottle bits on the stone. And there's consonants used here: slum as big as doom. Slums as big as doom. Sound is now the last stanza of the poem. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break open till they break the town. So the poet feels that this condition, this dismal life of the slum children will continue. It will go on until or unless some people who are in power, the governor, inspector, visitor, the governing authorities, the visitors who are coming to the school, the management bodies, or the educationists, the lawmakers, until they come in the front and they take the lead and they pledge to change the condition of these slum children. Until they intervene, nothing will be accomplished. So unless governor, inspector, visitor, till they try to improve the situation of these slum children, their condition will go on like this only. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window. Until and unless this map becomes their window, that means the world is providing them opportunities. This world is open for them for exploration. They are given opportunities to go out in the world and to take a first hand experience of the world they should be given a good quality education, free and compulsory education. He's talking about, he's talking about the social rights of these children. They are leading a life which is below poverty line. So they, when they are not able to meet with the basic necessities, from where will they get the fund or the money to get a quality education or to get an access to the great opportunities which are there in the outside world? So he's saying, unless there are strong steps taken, their lives will continue like this only, which he has already described in the poem. So this map becomes their window. This map should become their window or symbol of opportunity. And these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break open till the break the town. So the poet has an ardent wish, and he makes an urgent note that these windows should break, break free, repetition of the word break, and break the town, not literally but metaphorically. They should move away from this trend. They should break the shackles of all uh, the barriers which are stopping them from achieving the great heights that like other people are doing in the world, or other children of their age are achieving. So the windows should be broken, and they themselves, they alone cannot do that. The poet seeks the attention of the authorities, and he definitely understand that their contribution is going to be a mammoth one in this task. So he's saying the windows which are shut upon them right now, the windows are shut. They're living their lives in the shanty places. They are leading their lives in the cramped holes, in the rooms which are dingy and dark, and these windows are like the lids. Catacombs were the underground burial chambers. There were passages and there were combs, like you have honeycomb. Similarly, there were combs for putting the bodies, the coffins, and it was a kind of religious practice to put the bodies in the catacombs. So here the poet is comparing the children's lives to the dead bodies, as if their lives are over and they are buried in the catacombs. They are fixed in the catacombs, and the windows are like the lids to the catacombs. Till they break the window, till they break the old pattern, this will carry on, this life will carry on till they do this. So he's making an urgent request, that he's saying that windows should shut, no, sorry, windows should break. These windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs, break till they break the town, till they reach far off from these place where they are stagnant. Now see the concluding lines of the poem: and show the children to green fields, and make their world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into books, and white and green leaves open, history theirs whose language is sun. So see the great difference between the first and the last stanza. Earlier he was using all bleak images, dark colors, the shades of black, and now he has come to vibrant colors like green and gold and blue. And he is you know letting the children run into the terrain of knowledge and show the children to green fields. So he appeals the authorities that these children should be given a better ambience and environment. They should be allowed to go in the green fields. That means they should be given a better ambience, or their surroundings should be free from the squalor or the filth which they are experiencing right now. So green fields, they are symbolic of nature or freedom. Then make their world run azure on the gold sand. They should be given a free sky. There should be great opportunities for them, and the gold sand. The sun is shining and the sun rays are falling on the ground. They give a gold tinge to the earth. So the knowledge should dawn on their lives, and their lives should be brightened with that. Run azure on gold sand. So sky and the ground that is golden. Both are used in a metaphorical way. Here it means that their lives should be uh, full of opportunities, and they should be leading a good life. And let their tongues run naked into books, and white and green leaves open. The world of knowledge and the world of nature both should be open for them. They should read. The tongue should run naked into books. How beautifully Stephen Spender is using this metaphor. Tongue is running into books, running naked into books. Naked means uninterrupted, unhindered. So they should be given a chance to get literate, to get well education, and from that will come the upliftment of this weaker section of the society. No other tool will suffice in doing this miracle. It cannot be performed through a miracle. Education will be the only and the ultimate medium through which it can be accomplished. So the tongues run naked into books. The tongue should run into naked into books. Running meaning they should be fluent in reading. They should get the best of education, which will open the new avenues of life for them. So white and green leaves open. White leaves are referring to the leaves of the books, pages of the books, and green leaves, leaves of the green leaves means nature. History those whose language is son. Now, history belongs to those whose language is powerful. Language here doesn't only mean the verbal communication that you do. Language here means the knowledge, the education that you're getting. If your knowledge is powerful, if you have the powerful tool of knowledge, then you can create your own history. You can do inventions, and you can perform great deeds which are going to benefit the society as well as your own life. So those who are enlightened by education, they only can create history. And the poet feels that these children should have an unhindered access to education, and they should be given equal opportunities of education as well as the basic necessities also. And the figures of speech, I think most of them we have discussed of about these lines, and we'll just revise that. World run azure, there's a metaphor here. Azure means an open sky which is full of opportunities for them, and their tongues run naked into books. Again, a metaphor. White and green leaves, metaphorically referring to the books and nature. And language is sun. Language here means knowledge or education, and sun something bright or brilliant. Run azure, run naked. When you see these two lines, there is anaphora used here. What is anaphora? Use of repeated word in two consecutive lines. Run, run. So run azure and run naked. This is an example of anaphora. So students, through this masterpiece of literature and through this poetry, which is overbrimming and loaded with metaphors, symbolism, and imagery, and with a figurative language, what Spender is trying to achieve is an awakening. He wants to stir our souls, and he wants to convey his message to the authorities, to the people in power, to the lawmakers, that the lives of poor slum children should be improved. And still, if you read the poem in today's context, it is as relevant as it was at that time in 1964 when it was published. There is a huge gap still between the haves and have-nots, and we all should make it possible to cover, to bridge that gap, and that is the duty of each and every one of us. So let's get educated, and let's educate others also. This is the main motto of writing this poem of Stephen Spender, and we all can contribute in this noble cause. Thank you.